freedom fighters, freedom marchers, freedom lovers. How y'all doing this afternoon, this evening, wherever you're at in the world? Welcome to Freedom's March, where every day we march ever closer to freedom. And I actually believe that we are marching closer to freedom, people. Never give up hope on that. Always look ahead and say, hey, how much further is freedom away? Well, let's keep marching to find out, y'all. We're gonna keep marching to find out. We ain't gonna let nothing stop us. We're going to overcome every obstacle, and we're gonna keep it pushing. All right, I'll give y'all a minute to get up in here. It's Friday, February 17th, 2023, and yeah, please hit the like button when you come up in here. We're going to have a good discussion today. I mean, well, as much of a discussion it can be with just me talking. You know what? I should have started a StreamYard in case people wanted to come up. I think I saw Rashard say something about freedom being further away. Well, no. What you're seeing is, as you get closer to freedom, there are going to be more obstacles and more danger. So it just seems like that because, you know, the road ahead is tough. If it gets tougher and tougher and it seems like it's further away, that just means we're getting closer. We just got to keep pushing. You know what I mean? Don't let that, hey, they want you to think it's far away. They want you to think it's far away, but it's not. What's interesting is how they're talking about our illustrious administration. Biden's illustrious administration may have shot down some group's hobby balloon, but you know, come on, what can you really believe of these people, right? You know, you kind of like gotta let this shit go and wearing it one ear not the other. You know, take it with a grain of sand. All those fucking axioms, whatever you want to say. But today, I want to talk about and expound on a discussion I had last night with Irene Yvette. And it wasn't just Irene Yvette, it was Irene Yvette. She had a panel of a few people. If you're not familiar with Irene Yvette, she has a channel called The Radical Black Conservative. I have known Irene through YouTube for quite a few years. I'm one of her moderators. And, you know, we've had quite a few discussions on her panel where I won't always agree with her. And, you know, sometimes I do agree with her. And last night were one of those times where I agreed with very little things and not so many of others, okay? And to give you a little context of what the discussion was about and what led me to think about how religion is dangerous is she was discussing how women are out here gallivanting around, being more whorish, being more, you know, just being way more promiscuous these days than ever before. And how, you know, the feminist movement has taught these young women that, oh, in order to get back at men, we have to be as promiscuous or sexually deviant as men. And, you know, I agree with that, right? Because it's not in a woman's nature, right, to be that promiscuous and it not be detrimental to their well-being, emotionally, physically, you know, because every time a woman has sex, right, there are certain hormones that get released into a woman's body that you could call imprinting, right? And, you know, women imprint to men they have sex with. You know, they become somewhat emotionally tied to men they have sex with. But the more men they have sex with, the less of that hormone is released because, you know, you don't get an infinite supply, right? Just like with their eggs. And, you know, it's just like injecting exogenous hormones. right? Like testosterone or something like that. If you inject testosterone over a period of time, well, guess what? Your body stops producing certain amounts of testosterone. So you're no longer are you producing endogenous testosterone because of all the exogenous testosterone you're injecting. So if you stop taking the testosterone, your body still stops producing the testosterone, and so your hormones crash, right? Anyway, that's just an example. And I didn't necessarily have an issue with her saying that, right? Like saying that, oh well, women are having this sexual revolution to get back at men because men are this, that, and the third. And yeah, that could be the case, right? Or women, just because of how society is working out right now, the way society is, the way things are pushed onto people, not predictive programming, but programming through television, through social media, and people and women that women look up to are pushing this on the women. Because I know a lot of women, and I've had relations with a lot of women that wanted to have sex, not because they wanted to stick it to the man, it's because they wanted to fucking have sex. And they wanted to have a lot of it. They wanted to try a lot of dicks. And that is, in my mind, the majority of women. The majority of women aren't sitting up here thinking about sticking it. You'll hear women say, down with the patriarchy, this, that, and the third, right? They'll say that. But to me, it's just an excuse for them to be able to just go around laying it down to everybody, okay? Now, a generation or two before that, that's when the feminist movement was really pushed, and, it grew. But these days, these modern women, I don't really think that their overtly sexual behavior is strictly because they want to stick it to men. No, they want to get stuck by men. They want to have a variety of dicks. They want to have different experiences. They want to do this. They want to do that. They want to go to college. They want to put their career first. And that's what I would say the feminist movement in their mind is more tied to, wanting to become an independent woman, put their career and their education first. I'd say that is more in line with, the feminist movement. But the sexual revolution stuff, I just think that, women were like, well, they might have been like, I want to have as much sex as men. If men can do it, I can do it. But at the end of the day, I don't necessarily think that it has nothing to do with them also being sexual beings, right? Women are sexual, right? And it's not just emotion, right? It's not just because of emotion, right? It was her assertion that women have sex with these men because somehow the men get into their head and they're, manipulating the women to have sex with them, when that is far from what it is. Women actually manipulate men with sex, right? They manipulate men with the idea of being able to have sex with them, right? In her mind, is men are getting inside a woman's head and getting them to have certain feelings for a man, and then, they dick him down and then toss him to the side, when, no, that's not, no. Sometimes that happens, but it doesn't happen when a female goes ahead and has sex with a man on the first day of meeting them or having one night stands. No, men are not getting inside of a woman's head and manipulating them to have sex with them just like that. There's no time, right? It could be that woman just wants to have sex for the sake of having sex, not because they're emotionally tied, not because they've been manipulated in the mind. No, it's because, oh, he's hot, I want to have his dick inside me. That's how these women operate these days. A lot of women operate in that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the imprinting gets all messed up, right? Because now you just have random sex with people that you don't care about. And so that further desensitizes a woman's imprinting hormones or whatever you want to call it, right? And so, yeah, that's one thing I don't agree with. And so that's where the discussion started. She made several points, and I'm not going to go into what all the points were. I don't remember exactly what all the points were, but go check out the Radical Black Conservative. She did a live stream yesterday. She might have the live stream up depending on how crazy it got. And you can check out what her points were in regards to, misogyny, women's promiscuity, all that and the third. She'll go into all the points. But whenever she talked about a woman made a point about how women's sexual behavior is this, that, and the third, it always went back to how a man or how men are the catalyst for women's behavior, right? How, women wouldn't be so promiscuous and sexual if not for men. Or, how it's not good to want to be as sexual as men, because in her mind, and this is what I gathered from it, right? Men are sexually deviant, right? Especially men who have a lot of sex. Men who have a lot of sex or are promiscuous are filthy and dirty and disgusting. You don't want to be like that man, because they're trash, and just a lot of shaming language about men who've had sex with a lot of women. And then she even made the claim that men's sexual deviancy and sexual addiction, and addiction to porn and this, that, and the third will eventually lead to them having sex with animals and being pedophiles and all this, that, and the third. And I called her out on it. I said, hey, hold on, killer. I asked her, are most men promiscuous, right? Because she made a lot of broad generalizations, right? And actually, they were hasty generalizations. A hasty generalization is a fallacy, right? Now, there are generalizations that aren't fallacies, and there are generalizations that are fallacies. She made a hasty generalization, which is a fallacy, because most men don't have sex with animals. Even though she said men have sex with, men are this and that, they have sex with animals and they're pedophiles. Okay. First of all, are most men promiscuous? No, they're not. Most men are not promiscuous. Most men can't even get no sex. As a matter of fact, men are virgins at a much higher rate than women are these days, right? The amount of young men who are virgins in their 20s are increasing. So first of all, no. And then even for men who do have sex, they aren't promiscuous. Most men are not promiscuous. Most men aren't having sex with animals. Most men aren't pedophiles, right? Most men aren't R-words. So I had to call her out on that. I'm like, most men aren't doing these things that you're talking about. But in her mind, it will lead to that no matter what. If men, and then also men cannot control their sexual addictions. Like, we're out of control, right? If men have sex with a lot of women, we can't control ourselves. That's in her mind. Men who have sex with a lot of women can't control themselves. And I can tell you anecdotally, for one, as a man who had a lot of sex with a lot of women back in my 20s, I had complete and utter control of my sexuality. I only had sex with women that consented to have sex with me. They were only with grown-ass women. And, those are the two things to me. Like, in your mind, I'm a hoe and a whore and a filthy animal and all this, that, third. But guess what? I still had control over my sexual behavior. Okay? I didn't just go around, doing this, that, and third. There was a point in time where I was hollering at every woman, like trying to, you know, trying to bump a lot of chicks, which is not the same thing as having sex with a lot of chicks. Even though I did have sex with a lot of women in my 20s, I did holla at dang near every woman I saw. I didn't always succeed, but anyway, I can assure you, I had complete and utter control over over my sexuality, because guess what? I wanted to have a lot of sex, and I didn't just like, I didn't have, you know, there was no, it was, my only desire was to have sex with women that wanted to have sex with me and that were bad and beautiful, right? That was my, because it is great, it feels good, and it, you know what I'm saying, it felt good to know that women wanted me. And so, but did I lose control? No, she could say I did, because I had sex with a lot of women, but that does not mean I was not in control of my sexuality. That just means that I had sex with a lot of women. But anyway, so I had to say, call out. I told her that saying that men who are sexual by nature, right? Men are sexual by nature. We are aesthetic by nature, right? We're attracted to beautiful things, beautiful women by nature. You know, just because this is the case, right? And yes, some men do have a lot of sex. Some men who can't have a lot of sex, jack off, watch porn, all this, that, and the third. And yes, some men lose hours a day jacking off. But that, again, that is not all men. That is not the majority of men. The majority of men aren't whacking off 8 hours a day. Okay? So again, there's another generalization that does not apply, right? That is an outlier. And you know, I had to, like, I'm like, what is this about? You know, because she was comparing. So essentially, this is how I took it. Even though she's saying that she's holding women accountable, all this, that, and third, and she made videos about women being stupid and dumb, it's really like she's treating women like they are half-wits, right? Like women are children or infantile, right? That's more along the lines of how she treats women and holds women accountable. Because you can hold a child accountable, but you're like, you know, that's a child. She don't know no better, right? But we're talking about grown-ass women here. And yeah, you call women stupid, but you're also saying that women are so easily manipulated and molded, and so like they have no mental and intestinal fortitude. They'll just go along with whatever a man wants, right? It's only because of male hypocrisy, right, that women are out here twerking, out here wearing barely any clothes, you know what I'm saying, having sex with a lot of men. It's only because it's man's fault. If men did not desire women, well, women wouldn't want to be desirable. And guess what? That's never going to be the case. So to try to call men out, you know, basically she said male hypocrisy is the reason, and that men are ultimately at fault for women behaving in a certain way. And I had to call her out on that, because we're talking about grown-ass women who don't have to go on Instagram and show their bodies, do the splits, you know what I'm saying, dance around in thongs. They don't have to do that. No one's forcing them. They are choosing to do so. And it's not just because they want a man's attention. It's also because they want to make some money. Okay? OnlyFans is also about making money. They think they can make some quick money, right? They got IG, you know what I'm saying? They got YouTube. You know, they can get all these subscribers if they are thirst trapping and being like, you know, showing their being sexual, wearing short shorts, wearing yoga pants, where it's like the yoga pants with the built-in Murphy that shows their whole ass cheek and all this other shit. It shows their kitty cat, and they're doing spread eagles and standing split. Like, it's not just because if men did not enjoy watching that, well, then women would stop doing that. That's what she said. If we stopped looking at it, if we stopped entertaining it, if we ignored them, if we did this, that, and the third, then, well, they wouldn't be doing all that. Listen, I can stop looking, right? I cannot look at it. I can turn off my social media, but how is that going to transfer to every man on earth? It's not going to do that, right? Every man is not just going to say, hey, you know what? Irene Yvette's right. Because of my hypocrisy, that woman right there is doing what she wants to do as a grown-ass woman. So I'm just going to stop looking at her. No, it's not going to work, okay? And also, let me back up and tell you guys what male hypocrisy is. Male hypocrisy, according to Irene Yvette, is men calling out women for being promiscuous, for showing their bodies, for doing all that and the third on Instagram, but at the same time, can you guys hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me, even though every time I tell y'all to do that, y'all don't do it. Because y'all don't know how to listen. Y'all don't listen. I need to know that y'all can hear me so I can continue and not sound like an idiot or feel like an idiot. Thank you. So, male hypocrisy. Male hypocrisy is basically saying, oh, a man saying, I don't want no chick out there shaking her ass and twerking and not wearing anything, getting all kind of DMs and sure where a woman is twerking and all that other shit. Yeah, that is what's causing women who out of order and out of pocket, right? Men doing that. But here's the thing, this is why it's not hypocrisy. When men say that, we're saying we don't want that as a wife, right? But I mean, if I'm gonna bust something down, I might bust her down, but that's not my fault, right? If I want to marry a wholesome woman, right, that's what I want to marry. But if I want to have sex with a promiscuous woman who's also getting, here's the thing, that woman is also getting something out of it, right? They're getting some dick, right? Women's vagina is not so much more golden and platinum than a man's penis, right? Although I think, in my mind, to me, a woman's vagina is very precious, right? To me, that's like, there's nothing like some good vagina. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. As a matter of fact, I can't imagine how a penis could be anywhere near as good as a vagina, but that's because I'm a man who's heterosexual and I like me some vagina. I mean, that's just what it is. Like, so in essence, to me, shit, a woman's vagina is much better than a penis. But also in my experience, women that I've had sex with also think that my penis is magical. So it, you know, hey, they enjoy the penis, so they're getting something out of it too. But that's the whole point, right? If a woman is promiscuous and, you know, she's in her sexuality and she wants to get down like that, yeah, a man like might want to have sex with her, but he's not in his right mind going to want to marry that woman because she gets DMs from all kind of dudes. Listen, that's not hypocrisy. You're just putting her in a separate category than wifey. You know, that's what it is. But anyway, according to her, male hypocrisy is the reason that women are out here out of pocket, right? But here's the, and see, I can see where she would think that, because, men are supposed to be leaders, right? Men are supposed to be leaders. We're supposed to be kings and all this other, that and the third. But here's one thing she's missing. All men are not leaders. All men can't be leaders. All men are not leaders. You understand what I'm saying? All men do not subscribe to trying to the idea that, oh, we need to keep our women in control. All men don't think that way, and it's never going to happen, right? It's never going to happen, because there are too many different personalities. There are too many different people with different ideas and different cultures and different ideologies. You cannot force everybody to think like you. So as long as it's supply and demand. And what's the oldest profession? And her being a religious woman, what is the oldest profession? Prostitution. There is always, as long as there is demand, there will be a supply, right? And this is what I try to explain to her. We can't control what women do on the whole all across the world. We can't. I cannot force every woman to stop twerking, to stop showing her ass, stop doing this, that, and third. I can't do it. Me and all the leaders, me and every leader, every black leader in particular, got together and we, came up with a brain trust. And the fuck, these idiots out here. If me and other leaders, this fucking dude, fucking clown, got together and tried to brainstorm and say, hey, how can we force all women? It's not gonna happen, right? It's not gonna happen, because again, we can't control what everybody does. And so to say that, to put it on men that women are out here out of pocket is completely asinine. Male leader or no male leader, male this, male that, fuck that, right? I get it. I get that we are supposed to be leaders, but first, okay, let me give you an example. We got leaders in motherfucking Washington, right? So-called leaders, right? Politicians, whatever, fuck. Even though they hold the seats of power and they have the authority and the power to lay and collect taxes and create laws and declare war, they still can't control what people do. That's why people break laws. That's why people are outlaws. This is why they do this, that. People are still gonna want to do what they want to do if they really want to do it. You cannot control everybody, and that's the problem with government. And this is why.
In 10 miles, take the exit
and this essentially leads to why I say religion is dangerous. Religion is dangerous. Because I told her, I said, this is what I can do, right? If I'm the leader of my household. I got 6 children and a wife. I am the leader of the household. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I lead my household. I lead by example, right? I am the only legitimate authority over my children. And my wife decides to follow my leadership because she trusts me. But even her, I can't make her do anything. You understand? Understand this. I can't make her do anything. I can't control her, right? I can lead her, I can guide her, and she chooses to submit. It's her choice. She chooses to submit to me because she's seen by example that I know what the fuck I'm doing. So she said, that guy right there, he's smarter than me in a lot of ways. I've learned so much from my husband. She'll tell you. She's learned a lot from me, and following my lead has gotten her the lifestyle that she wanted. You know what I'm saying? But I still can't control her. I can't. And it's not my job. I'm not supposed to control her. I'm supposed to lead, right? And I told I'm not supposed to. That's the difference between a leader, a dictator, and a boss, right? The leader is the ultimate form of that is what you want, right? In its purest form, leadership is better than dictatorship and bosshood, because bosses and dictators, they just tell you what to do. They don't have to lead nothing by example. They use, they rule by force, they rule by edict, they rule by, you know what I'm saying? Whereas leaders, they don't rule. You know what I'm saying? They guide, they show, they, you know what I'm saying? They explain, right? They are chosen. Leaders are chosen. And so a great leader can show you why their leadership is great leadership. Whereas bosses and dictators don't show you shit. They coerce, they rule by fear. They try to control people. And this is the ultimate problem. So I at the end of the day, I don't want to control what women do. Do I think that is detrimental to most women to do that behavior? Absolutely. Absolutely. But guess what? They had to be held accountable solely for their actions, right? They had to be solely held accountable for their actions. And guess what? If another person's actions kind of influenced their actions, then that person has to be held accountable for their actions as well. But they're both going to be held accountable. So let's say, a parent, didn't properly raise their daughters to not be out there floozying, right? Like they weren't attentive. They didn't explain anything to them. They just let the world raise them up. They let the school raise them. They let this, that, and the third. They let social media raise them and never guided them, right? That parent failed, right? That parent failed. But there comes a point in time where that young lady has to come to terms with adulthood, right? Just like a young man has to come to terms with adulthood, despite how he was raised, unless he has some type of mental disorder. In that case, well, then a mental or emotional disorder. If they have any of those things, then we handle it accordingly, right? They have to go to therapy, all that type of shit. Talk to somebody, right? But there comes a point where you are enough of an adult to understand actions and consequences, right?
In 19 miles, take the exit to merge onto I-20 East.
Actions and consequences. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And to try to blame men, and we're talking about people who have direct influence of other people. We're talking about a parent that has direct influence over their child that grows up to be a certain way. They have to be held accountable to a degree, but also that young woman has to be held accountable, right? Like you can't say to that mother, the mother of that 25-year-old, hey, you need to do something right now to change your daughter's behavior. Well, all that mother can do is try to talk to her daughter. And what if the daughter doesn't listen? She's an adult now. She's living on her own. She has an OnlyFans. She's flying out in yachts. That's on her, right? You tried to. The damage is done. You already did what you did. as a mother, you know, you raised her how you raised her, and now she is the way she is. But that woman has to be held responsible for her own actions. So this is what she wants men to do. She wants men to become chaste. She wants all men to become chaste and to stop watching women twerk. Stop watching women be sexual. Stop having sex with women. Become virginal. All this other shit. It's not going to happen. You understand? And this is what else I'm going to do. Like, this isn't a personal attack against Irene Yvette. I got mad love for Irene Yvette. She's very intelligent and very articulate. And that's how I think sometimes she's great with articulating herself. Even when what she says makes no sense. She can make something that doesn't make sense sound like it makes the most sense in the world. But that shit don't work on me. That shit don't work on me. Yeah, she's very feminine. I don't know if Shad Kinley, you were saying that Irene Yvette is very feminine. And I know she's submissive to her husband. But she has the ability, even when she's committing fallacy after fallacy, right? Even when she's not making any logical sense, she has a way of making it sound like it makes logical sense. But I see through that. But that's okay. That's okay. I forgot what I was saying. Listen, you're not going to make every person do something that they don't want to do. It's not going to happen. All men are not going to suddenly become, wholesome. It's not going to happen. Men have been sexual since time immemorial. We have been sexual beings. We have been wanting to stick our dick in all kind of shit since the beginning of time. Men have erections every 90 minutes. Men wake up with erections, right? We have the desire to spread our seed. For hundreds of thousands of years, men have had multiple women, especially if they're resourceful men. They have the ability to have multiple wives and all this, that, and the third, and concubines. It just is what it is. It is what it is. You can't hold men and women to the same standard on many things, right? There are certain standards that Irene Yvette is not going to hold a man to. She's not going to hold a woman to, right? She's not going to hold a woman. She's not going to hold women to leadership standards like she holds men to leadership standards, but she wants to hold men to wholesome virginal standards like she would want women to be held to those same standards. It doesn't work like that. It's a double standard. That is what it is. Some double standards are what they are. Some double standards are going to be what they're going to be. And, like I said, she has the ability to make something that don't make sense sound like it makes sense. That don't make no sense to try to say that men should be this, that. No, it's not going to happen. Men are going to desire to have sex with women, and women are going to have the desire to possibly take advantage of that man who wants to have sex with her and get some money out of it. Or attention, or likes. You ain't gonna stop it. You ain't gonna stop it. Even in Babel and Babylon and all these other places, all these religious cities, and there have been whores. There have been whores. There have been men who desired whores. You cannot give me an example of a time or place where everybody was chaste and everybody waited until everybody wait. No, it's not gonna happen. Not even the majority of women, majority of men, the majority of people. There's never been a time where the majority of people waited till they got married to have sex. It's not. Come on with the fantastical nonsense. It's fantastical, right? Even the best leader in the world is not going to be able to force, or a group of the best leaders in the world, or hundreds of the best leaders in the world, are not going to be able to force men to be chaste. It's not going to fucking happen. It ain't going to happen. Put that to bed. It's not going. That's unrealistic. And so it's a waste of energy to think that you're going to somehow make this work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's unrealistic. So we have to deal with reality. We have to stay within the realms of reality. You understand? What you should be concerned about, what you should be most concerned about, is the attack on our children. How they're trying to turn our children into boys and the girls and girls and the boys, and all this cutting things off and castrating and puberty blocking. That's what we need to focus our energy on. Keeping our children out of the hands of these motherfuckers. Trying to, you know what I'm saying? That is something that we can control. That, our children, that is something that we should be focusing on. Not men jacking off and men liking pictures and men all that. Fuck out of here with that, right? Get the fuck out of here with that. Or even women, stop shaking your ass, stop showing your ass, stop showing some leg, stop showing your feet, stop sitting on cakes, stop doing, no, fuck all that, man. We ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that. We got bigger fish to fry. Okay? Okay? And it's not going to lead to a mass bestiality. It's not going to lead to mass pedophilia. It's not going to happen. Right? Oh, that man's sexual. He likes women. So therefore, in 3 or 4 years or 3 or 4 decades, he's going to have sex with a squirrel. It don't work like that. Stop it. Enough of the slippery slope fallacy. Enough of the post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy. It's not going to happen. It's not how it works. Are there going to be bestiality motherfuckers? Are there going to be pedophiles? Yes, we have to deal with them when we discover them, and not allow our court system to release them and put them on some fucking database. They shouldn't even be on a database. If they are known pedophiles and known sexual abusers, there should not even need to be a database. There needs to be a motherfucking database. These motherfuckers need to go in a database. Database. That's what we need to be focusing on. Not whether women twerking, not whether men are jacking off and watching the girl-on-girl action or boy-on-girl action or interracial. Fuck all that. Oh, this man spends 4 or 5 hours a day jacking off. What is the world coming to? So, let that man motherfucking jack off. Let that woman motherfucking twerk her ass up and down. Who gives a hot fuck? People have to be held responsible. That's on them. You know, we need to be focused on, and I'm not even the type of person who likes to say we need to do this, we need to do that. But this is getting out of control. We need to focus on building families. Start with family. Build small communities where we have more influence, not control, more influence and guidemanship and leadership over what goes on in those communities. And you build from there. You lead by example. Look, these people over here, they bought 500 acres of land, and they got this, that, and the third. They got a little hospital over there. They got this, that, they got that. They got a shooting range. They got an obstacle course. They got a outdoor school. They got, they got a huge ass regenerative farm. They got all kind of animals. They're building shit by hand like the Amish do. Like,
stay in the left 4 lanes.
Yeah, then guess what? If I'm a leader of that community, I'll have a little bit more influence and guidesmanship. I don't even know if guidesmanship is a word, but guess what? I'm going to make up a word to avoid saying that I want to control somebody. I'm going to create a word. If guidesmanship is not a word, I'm making it goddamn up. And it sounds good, don't it? Guidesmanship, that sounds like some good shit. Guidesmanship over a community where you're doing great things, collecting rainwater. You know, the boys and girls are playing outside with animals, and they're going into the woods. They're learning how to hike. They're learning the lay of their land, right? Building little foxholes, building this, that, and the third, building tree houses, collecting water and sifting for gold, whatever the fuck they want to do. Hunting, gathering. I can control that. I mean, I can influence that. Our children ain't gonna be worried about twerking if they have things that they can do within the community. I'm not saying that we can't guide and influence women not to do that. I'm saying you have to focus the energy on shit that you can actually influence. Not this broad, well, you know, men need to stop. No, that's just me. See what I'm saying? Here's where it got tricky. When I told her, I said, we can't control what every woman does. She said, yes, you can. You see that? Now, because I know she's a Christian, I know where this is coming from. Christians have been trying to shape the world in their image for hundreds of years. This doesn't work out. And you know why? Because ultimately, it's about control. And when you try to control masses of people, it doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. You know, that's where it gets dangerous. Because even someone like Irene Yvette, I know I had a little discussion with her one-on-one before on her channel. You know, when we were discussing the merits of anarchy versus government, right? Excuse me. And, you know, when she said you can control what every woman does, I'm like, there's really no point. Because she has it in her, she really believes that. She really thinks that you can control every woman and every man and stop them doing what they want to do. And that's where I had to tell, hey, no, we're not supposed to try to control every woman and every man. It's not for us to do. And of course, she knows I'm an anarchist, you know, so she had to, which is good. She knows where I'm coming from. She told the audience, or she told the people in the chat, or the people in the room, that I'm an anarchist. That's the position I'm coming from, because that is the position that most is in line with, you know, ensuring people are free. There's no other system that is going to ensure that, right? You have voluntarism, which is anarchy to a degree, but really what it is, you know, people can form their own communities where they voluntarily participate in that system or structure, and if they don't like what's going on, they can choose to leave it, right? Where they can choose to not participate. They can opt out. Well, you can't opt out in this government, right? You can't opt out. I can't just be like, y'all, no, I have to participate because it's a broad central, this is a central government that spans the entire country, right? So I can't go to one state that is more aligned of what I believe in and not have the threat of the federal government looming over my head. And even that state, even when you have state governments, it's too much broad control, because there might be a little village or county within the state that wants to do their own thing, that doesn't want to have any parts of or state rulership, but that state can overrule, or the court can say, nah, you can't do that, like they did and declared itself a Second Amendment sanctuary. That was just overturned by the court system. You know, the state took him to court, and the court said, nah, you can't do that. You can't be a free county. Nope, fuck that. Fuck your Second Amendment rights, and that's what it is. This is where she tried to get me. And this is what all statists do, because Irene Yvette is a statist, make no bones about it. This is what all statists do. And wife leave and go to the store without you and get back home okay. I'm like, yeah. Well, see, that's why we need government and law and order. Really? No. You see, because this is where people get it confused. People think anarchy means that there's no structure, there's no system, there's no guidelines. Everybody can just run around and do whatever the hell they want, whether they can rape, murder, steal, kill, they can do whatever they want. No. That's not how it works. That's not, all anarchy means is no rulers. That's all it means. But at the same time, right, the emphasis of anarchy is on individual liberty and individual rights. And if someone comes through and violates your rights, and tries to violate your rights, tries to make a victim out of you, well, there will be and can be consequences for those individuals, right? So you could be an anarchist in a community of anarchists that agree that, hey, we're going to mind our own business. We're still going to be cool with each other and all that other shit. We're going to, we can commerce with each other, and we can do this, we can do that. But if someone comes through and violates, well, we're going to handle them. We're going to deal with them properly. So let's say we live in an anarchistic system, and my family lives in the community, and they want to go out and do something, right? They want to leave. Well, people within that community, others within that community can they can, they will be armed, everybody will know each other. They'll be armed. They'll be willing and ready to defend my wife and children if the need arises. Everyone would be completely armed if they chose to be. An armed society is a class society. My wife would be armed. My children will be armed. So yes, somebody can try to come and kidnap or hurt them, but guess what? They better be ready to get them things thrown at them, them dumb shells, to make them run well. You understand what I'm saying? Just know that if we lived in that system, my wife and children would be armed. And not only would they be armed, they'd be well trained in the usage of those firearms. So, I mean, they'd have a better shot without government rulership. They'd be better equipped to survive, because many governments don't want their people armed. In many states, in many counties, in many cities, you can't even walk around with a firearm, let alone have your child strapped. No. So what you're doing with government is you're hindering people from the ability of you're taking away people's ability to be able to defend themselves by any means necessary. In the government system, you got to call Popo. You got to call Popo. I'm more afraid of my children and wife leaving the house under government now than I would under anarchy within a community of other anarchists that believe in the golden rule, that believe in the non-aggression principle, that believe that you must guard your fucking freedom and rights jealously and vigilantly. You're not just gonna just let people do what the hell they want to do to you. No. Nah, she bugging. Law and order. See, these law and order people, they don't know what they want. It's law and order is the reason you have a channel, Irene Yvette. Law and order is the reason you make certain videos. It's just, I don't understand that. I don't understand this whole obsession with this obsession with the need to have government in our lives, and you can't imagine. I can't imagine life without government. Like, who's going to protect us? Who's going to build our hospitals? Who's going to build our bridges? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Who's going to fight the fires? Who's gonna, who's gonna teach our children? Who's doing it now? Government ain't doing this shit. Government ain't up there in that crane building that building. Definitely government ain't on my job site making that motherfucker get built. No, it's people, right? Engineers. Guess what? Engineers, structural engineers, civil engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, plumbing engineers. They all got together and said, hey, let's build a fucking building. Let's build a building. And, throughout the years, because what about regulation? What about making sure shit's safe? Well, throughout the years, there have been accidents, murders. I mean, not murders. There have been fatalities, injuries throughout the years of construction where, how did this motherfucker plummet 30 feet to his death? Oh, we didn't have a guardrail there. Well, let's start putting guardrails up. Do you think we really need government to tell us that we have to put guardrails up? No. If we want people to come to work, right? If we want people to go home safely, and we want people to want to come and work for our jobs and work in this field, well, we're going to have to try to make it safe as possible. Okay, so let's put guardrails up. Let's do lockout, tag out when we're dealing with electrical. Let's, let's put an exclusion zone around a plumbing line when we do pressure tests. These are things that we come up with. These are things that people that work in the field come up with to tell the government that, oh, this should be in the regulations. That should be in the regulations. But guess what? OSHA's not on the job every day, making sure shit's safe. No, every fucking discipline on that job site has a safety person to make sure shit's safe. And you don't need government for that. All you got to do is say, hey, if you're not doing this safely, you got to get off my job site because you're unsafe. You don't need government to come in and do that. You understand? Because if there's injury and death due to the negligence of the contractor or the employer or whatever, well, then guess what? You can still be compensated, duly compensated for that negligence.
Take the exit to merge onto I-20
You think that can't happen? Hold on, killers. You think that can't happen? You think that, I'll even go as far as to say, hey, you can have a court. You can have a court without government where it's fair and balanced, and the judge is actually an unbiased judge, and doesn't have any political leanings and political manipulations going on. You can still have structure and systems in place. You can still have that. It's voluntary. If you don't want to have to deal with going to court, well, then you don't have to be a construction contractor. You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? That's voluntarism for you. I don't get it. And at the very least, why wouldn't you want the smallest level of government possible, like a municipal government or something? Why would you want to be able to control whole masses of people? Well, it's that religion. Religion gives people this idea that people need to be controlled. Like their thought. Every thought needs to be controlled. Every desire needs to be controlled. That's why there's this, don't covet this, don't do this, don't do that, don't have these type of thoughts. They want to control how you think. They want to convince you that if you think a certain way, well, then you're going to go to hell. All that type of shit. It's about control, man. It's about control. That's just, hey, that's my opinion. That is my opinion. Tell me what else it's about. That's what religion is about. Religion is about how can we best control people's behaviors? How can we best control them? Okay, we'll tell them about this guy named Jesus who came down and, he died for your sins. And so therefore you have to be sinless. And if you do sin, you got to do this, that, and the third. Well, if he died for our sins, past, future, and present, right? Because I don't see Jesus dying for everybody every time someone commits a sin. No, Jesus died once on the cross for everybody's sins. So if that's the case, then can't we just keep sin and not have to worry about it? Why do we have to repent when Jesus already died for our sins? I'm confused. No, I'm serious. I'm not trying to be snide or snippish. What they call that thing when you're being a smart ass? I'm really curious. If Jesus died for our sins 2,000 years ago, right? Did he just die for the sins of the people before he died, or did he die for the people's sins? But die for the sins of the people at the point in which he died, or does it apply to everybody else afterward? Because if he died for our sins, that means he took the burden of what our sins, the consequence. I'm just trying to understand it. I don't know. It's about control. So because Jesus died for your sins, you must follow this doctrine, or you're going to hell, right?
Use the left lane to keep left to merge onto
Follow this
I-20
doctrine.
toward Augusta.
Have a relationship. These motherfuckers, I hate Atlanta. These motherfuckers around here, man. Do what we say.
Keep left.
If you do this that way, then guess what? You're going to hell. If you don't do it this way, you're going to hell. If you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell. Like, okay. Sounds good, buddy. No, I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to it. It's about control, right? They want to control what you do. They want to control what you say. Now, there might be some benefit to religion. Some people might turn their lives around, turn to Christ. They were maybe they were a criminal or something like that, and they did bad things in their lives, and turning to that religion helped get them on the right track of being a good individual. I don't deny that. I know people that has happened to. I'm not saying that there's not some benefit for individuals who feel like they need something to cling to make life make sense and to get them on a certain path. I don't deny that. But being someone who's not like that, being someone who's not being a bad individual who victimized people all their life, not having ever been a drug addict or an R word or murderer or anything like that. I don't need that level. I don't need that. I don't need it. And having not, I was, I guess you could say my parents were religious, right? They were Christians, and then they decided to become Muslims. I never took to it. I never thought that, I never had the desire to be a Muslim, so, I took the Shahada when I was 13 years old, but, and technically, according to Islam, I can never not be a Muslim ever again because I took the Shahada. So I took the Shahada of age, essentially. That's what they consider being of age to make that decision. So since I said the Shahada, technically I'm still a Muslim, according to that religion. So, but I'm gonna practice it. Shit. You know what I mean? So it's not anything against Irene Yvette's religion in particular. It's just all religion. It's all Abrahamic faiths, right? So that is what it is. But anyway, that's all I got for now, man. I'm gonna get off this. My voice is getting a little lost or whatever. And yeah, I just thought I'd come on here because once you get on her panel and a bunch of people start coming up there, you can't really get a word out. And I'm not one to like talk over people and scream and holler. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will say though, last night I was a little, as I was speaking, I had some passion with it, but I'm not about to be the one once everybody over talking each other and trying to shut down other people, and so I figured I'd come on my own channel and be able to say whatever the hell I wanted to say yesterday, because you're not going to get it out in Archie. And that goes for anybody's panels, not just her panels. If I opened up a panel of people and we were having a discussion about different topics and someone disagreed with another person, there'd be some over talking then too. I mean, hell, people over talk each other when they do agree. So at least I'm able to come up on here on my own channel and speak my piece about it. And yeah, that was it. So anyway, y'all go check out her live stream from yesterday. Go check out her channel. She has a really good channel. Irene Yvette, the radical black conservative, has a lot of great information on her channel. She knows how to research and cite sources and all that type of shit. Like, she's really good at that. She'll bring receipts. Believe that. She'll bring receipts. But she gives a lot of good information. She's very articulate and yeah, very soft-spoken. And she also teaches, I believe she still teaches for the ZIX, I forgot the name of the organization. It's Q Butter's homeschooling program. So, but she'll have more information on that. So go check out her channel. And yeah, I'm gonna holler at y'all later. And remember, every day, march ever closer toward freedom. Peace.